Hi everyone, I am Gabija Savickyte, a recent EarthCorps alumni from the 2022-2023 international cohort. And earlier this year, together with Carol Garzon-Lopez, I published a paper on monitoring urban biodiversity, and I'm here today to share a little bit of what I learned along the way. I wanted to start off by saying that it might not fit our traditional image of the city, but it is clear that urban areas could and are providing homes to millions of species, starting from plants, tiniest insects and fungi, to larger mammals and even predators, such as foxes. Cities can provide habitat for species, and that can come in different forms. Parks, waterways, such as lakes, rivers and canals, ponds, green buffers along the streets, green roofs, and even your own garden can and probably already is a habitat for local biodiversity. Moreover, if planned and managed well, green spaces can form extensive networks within a city or even surpassing it, connecting urban green spaces with other, perhaps bigger, natural areas outside of city boundaries. And this allows for species dispersal or migration. On the other hand, cities can be often overlooked as crucial biodiversity hubs, especially in areas with high levels of agricultural activity. Because while those areas might fit our typical quote-unquote outside landscape that we associate with the presence of biodiversity, in reality they look more like biodiversity deserts. And that can be largely attributed to monocultures and pesticide use. And biodiversity itself is one of the most important pillars of a functioning ecosystem, and they provide numerous benefits to us, and we can feel them or the lack of them in a very strong and direct way, especially in cities. And those benefits can start with incredible benefits to mental health and physical well-being. Green spaces in urban areas also help us with air and noise pollution, water retention, and even microclimate control, such as urban heat island effect. And all of these benefits for us and local flora and fauna can be seen only if green spaces in cities are planned and managed well. However, even before the restoration crews such as EarthCorps come and do the important work of helping reestablish local biodiversity, a lot of planning and research needs to be done in order to do it in an informed and effective way. One of the steps for this is understanding and monitoring the biodiversity levels in cities. In this way, cities provide some unique challenges to researchers, such as habitat fragmentation, inaccessibility to certain spaces, and the just general dynamic nature of urban areas. Therefore, traditional monitoring methods might not be adapted or prove to be simply too expensive for urban biodiversity monitoring. And this is what Carol and I were investigating in our paper. We wanted to know to what extent and how citizen science could prove to be a great tool for accessing biodiversity data in urban settings. And species identification apps, such as iNaturalist and Seek that you might know, are not only great tools that help people learn and connect with the natural world, but also provide data to the Global Biodiversity and Information Facility that can later be accessed by researchers, land planners, and policymakers directly focusing on urban biodiversity and monitoring and management. Just to show an example of how powerful and informative the observations that you might make on your daily walk to your local park might be, on the screen now you can see the city core of Groningen. It's a city in the Netherlands, which was one of the study sites of our research. And each yellow point represents an observation made by an expert. And here you can see how many more observations there are once you include the observations made by volunteers, such as you and I. It is worth mentioning that even the observations that were made by volunteers are research grade, meaning that they were later on verified either by an AI or the experts themselves. And while monitoring urban biodiversity using these data sets includes way more work and understanding the impact of different scales and biases that come with it, which I'm not going to bore you with right now, but if you are interested, you can definitely check out our paper. It's really cool. This is one of the ways how biodiversity monitoring can become way more accessible and involve the local population as a whole, which I think is quite beautiful. So, in conclusion, if you find yourself in a city, go explore. You might find many interesting neighbors that you didn't know about, and whether that's a squirrel living near your window in a tree, or a patch of really cool ferns behind a fence next to your house, your connection to nature might help biodiversity monitoring in a way more direct way than you thought before. Thank you.